To start, my boyfriend 24 and I 23 have been together for 4 years. I'm a Swiftie, and I told him at the beginning of our relationship about her song, Call It What You Want, which has this line, I want to wear his initial on a chain round my neck. I pointed the line out hoping for a necklace with his initial and I wasn't disappointed. For the next few years it was the same gift for Valentine's Day, our anniversary, my birthday and Christmas, different types of metals and fonts, and reassured me that they were all expensive and high quality from luxury brands. He offered this info voluntarily, I never asked him. He gave me bracelets, anklets, rings, earrings and a waist chain. I asked him multiple times to stop with the initial jewellery, but he says he's not good at getting gifts, so I send him links to things I want and make sure to explicitly say I want him to get it for me. He ignores the links. I keep track of what he talks about and mentions. This year I bought him winter boots, the AirPod Max and 2 video games. He loved all of them and I was so happy to see him smiling. I asked him to buy me a coat and some nice Dior makeup, but he ignored me and got another necklace with his name on it. I opened it and started bawling in front of his family. Finally, I screamed at him to stop getting me this crap and threw the box at him. I told him I wanted the gifts I gave him back so I could return them and get something I really wanted and buy him a necklace with my name on it for Christmas instead. He said that all the jewelry he's bought cost thousands of dollars, how I was the one that wanted the jewelry in the first place and I'd become a completely different person. He accused me of not wanting to tell people about being in a relationship to make it easier for me to cheat on him and for being a gold digger. Am I the idiot? I usually am afraid of direct confrontation, and I'm horrified about how I acted in front of that many people. I've gotten calls and texts from many family members about how I'm not allowed back and how there was no need for me to ruin Christmas for everyone. Edit, my boyfriend bought me around 15 pieces of jewelry with his name or initial. Did it again on Christmas after I asked him not to, and I made a scene in front of his family. He doesn't understand why I don't want any more jewelry and thinks I don't love him anymore. He accuses me of cheating whenever I attempt to go out without the jewelry. He's back home tomorrow. I have a lot to think and talk about. We've talked on the phone, and he's said a few times he's not upset or mad with me so we can go back to normal, but I think he just wants to avoid the bigger conversation. Everyone's the idiot. You for your reaction. You can't control the initial crying, but the throwing you could. Him because he is being lazy by getting you the same thing despite you telling him not to, despite you giving him other ideas. Dump him. Why? He's a walking red flag. The initial thing has become his way of trying to display ownership. He accuses you of trying to cheat. My money is on his cheating, and he has a guilty conscience. He's trying to guilt and manipulate you into believing you're the problem. This is what I thought as well. He doesn't care what she wants, he just wants to display his ownership of her, and it's gross. Notice he said she's only requesting other gifts because she doesn't want people to know that she's dating him so she can cheat on him. As if her wearing 15 necklaces with his initials on them could safeguard against that or something? OP, find someone who listens to you. Doesn't accuse you of cheating because you don't want 101 pieces of name jewelry. Someone who puts the same effort into the relationship you do. Not the idiot. How do people not understand that he's been buying her necklaces, bracelets, rings, etc. with his initials for every celebration for years now? Who does that? And after she explicitly told him to stop and gave him other suggestions for what she would like? This was the absolute last straw after years of the exact same stupid gift. She was driven to it. I'm sorry, but throwing a gift at someone in front of their family is not a good move. If they didn't like you, they likely won't now. No family is going to be okay with their son or brother's partner throwing a gift at them and then demanding all the gifts back. Throwing someone at someone is actually abusive. Your behavior with the present was grossly inappropriate. No one told you to buy him $1,000 worth of gifts. That was your choice alone. Since it's a recurring problem, start getting him a similar gift for every occasion too. Maybe it will sink in then. OP, have you tried wearing all 15 necklaces at the same time, every time you go out? Especially in front of his friends, colleagues and family. If he wants you tagged with his ownership, I say roll with it, until he sees the reaction the 15 necklaces are getting from other people. It would have been a much better move for Christmas Day with his family. Turn up wearing all 15 and smile and add the 16th one to your neck. "Oh, darling, this is exactly what I wished for but didn't have." So, my siblings and I have an older uncle that we're pretty sure doesn't know our names. He calls us the big one, Blondie, the boy, the hag, and the little one. My youngest sister, a young teen, is the hag. When she was little, she had a different name, I can't remember what it was, but when she got older, she started to look exactly like our mom. He and our mom mess with each other and he calls her a witch or an old hag. Then, he started calling my little sister the hag. She didn't mind it when we were younger, she used to join in the teasing, but now that she's older, she hates it. She returned his birthday present to her because he had written the hag on the label. This Christmas, gifts this year were labelled with all our nicknames except my sister's and had the Grouch written on it instead of the hag. My sister threw a fit. She was yelling that all of us have nice nicknames except for her, and this BS isn't funny anymore, and he needs to use her real name if he wants respect from her. It was a really over-the-top tantrum, especially considering he got her the nicest gift out of all of us. I told her she needed to get over herself and realize that our uncle isn't going to change the names he's called us since we were babies. He doesn't mean any harm by them, and she just needs to accept hers. Now she's calling me a witch, and my parents say I should have left her alone and want me to apologize to her to keep the peace. Am I the idiot for telling her that she needs to get over herself and the fact that she doesn't like the nickname he gave her? You are the idiot. You literally say he isn't changing nicknames that you've had since babies. Yet he's changed hers several times and they aren't nice. She might look like your mom, but she isn't your mom, so he shouldn't be taking their inside jokes out on her. He is an idiot and so are you. Who cares what gift he got her? Are you mad about the gift or mad that she no longer has a crappy nickname? Right? Can't remember their names, but can consistently remember to use the same insulting nicknames? Please. Also, the entire family are idiots. Who goes along with calling a kid the hag as a family nickname? What even is this family dynamic? Poor girl. How much do you want to bet that OP is Blondie? Pretty sure she is. I also suspect she's the next up from the youngest because this has the tone of a displaced baby of the family. I wonder how old she'll be when she clues into how a guy like her uncle probably regards people he thinks of as a blondie. OP, would you like to be called a freaking hag? He doesn't mean any harm. Well, he's causing harm and you are dismissing it. Maybe try putting yourself in your sister's shoes. Have some empathy. You definitely owe your sister an apology. How would you like it if she started calling you the witch? That's her nickname for you, and sorry, you just have to suck it up because she gave it to you. My family is Vietnamese and our parents were typical Viet parents. They immigrated to the US, and the entire time we were growing up, they emphasized the importance of education. They pushed us hard, and extracurricular activities that didn't boost our chance of getting into college were not allowed. I hated seeing my friends join the cheerleading squad while I had to be in the band. My friends were able to go to school dances while I had to go to tutoring. I resented my parents for many years and told them so. Their answer was always the same: hate us all you want now, but thank us later. I'm now a surgeon and all my siblings have high-paying careers. The sibling with the lowest salary makes almost $160,000 a year as a supervising pharmacist in a hospital. We're all living very well and very happy with our lives. Now that I'm a mother, I can admit that my parents were right. My sister, an attorney, is married to Bill. He's not Asian and works as a chef at a restaurant. Unlike movies or cooking shows, he's only making about $50,000 a year, while his wife pulls in about $500,000 as a partner in her firm. Over Christmas, we were gathered at my parents', and I was asked by my niece, my brother's daughter, about my career. Her parents are pushing her into the medical field, and she wants to know what it takes. During our conversation, she said she wanted to be a teacher and not a doctor. She told me she feels pressured into studying too much and can't enjoy life like her friends. I pointed out that I went through the exact same thing, and teaching won't give her the life she's accustomed to. I said if she's a doctor, she can always teach on the side. I told her about a colleague who's also a physician and volunteers to teach in his old high school. Brother-in-law overheard us and chimed in about how she should follow her dream of teaching because money does not equal happiness. He pointed out that he makes as much as a teacher and lives a great life. I didn't appreciate his nosiness, so I replied that he has a great life because my sister makes 10 times his salary and brought him a brand new $125,000 electric car for Christmas. Then I turned to my niece and told her unless she wanted to live off someone, she needed to make her own money. Brother-in-law got his feelings hurt and went to complain to my sister. She told me I was wrong to say that to brother-in-law and that I should apologize. I'm refusing since I only stated the truth, but now they're refusing to come to my house for Viet New Year. I'm hosting the entire family, unless I apologize. Wow, you are the idiot. Bill heard his niece getting some very one-sided advice. He chimed in with his perspective, which he is just as much entitled to as you are to yours, and which is just as valuable to your niece as yours is. That's not nosiness, that's looking out for his niece. Precisely the same thing you were doing. Your ad hominem attack was completely uncalled for. And it's sad that with all your education you haven't yet learned that money doesn't buy happiness. If it did, there wouldn't be so many miserable rich people. I'm glad you're satisfied with your life, truly, but as a single woman working for a non-profit at non-profit wages, I assure you there are many different ways to achieve a good life. Wait, if the wife earns more money, then she's a sugar mama, but if the husband earns more money, then he's the husband? If both are working, one spouse makes more and that makes them partners, not sugar mamas or daddies. As for him saying he's happy, maybe he was saying he was happy with his career even though it didn't make as much money as others. It's quite possible he could have also married someone who makes $75,000 a year and be happy, and lived a fairly decent life. Not the idiot, OP, truth is indisputable. He used himself as an example of happiness when his happiness was based on his wife's hard work. Sure, money isn't everything, but if he wasn't married to his wife, his life would look very different than it does now. I'm not a fan of parents forcing kids into careers. Your niece is not you, and the world she's growing up in is very different. Your ability to deal with your parents' expectations is different than hers. Please, support your niece in whatever career path she chooses, whether teaching or medicine. There is value in great teachers and great doctors. Society needs both. My wife and I have 4 kids. The teen daughter is mine from a previous relationship, and the young teen stepdaughter is from my wife's previous marriage. We have a nanny for all of the kids. My stepdaughter went out with some friends and asked our nanny to pick them up at 2. The younger 2 fell asleep at 2, so she left them at home with the oldest and went to pick up the stepdaughter and her friends. At 2:30, the nanny called me and said that the stepdaughter and her friends weren't in the car yet and keep saying almost done when she asked where they were. The younger 2 were up by 3 and she didn't want to leave the oldest alone with them. I told her to call stepdaughter and say she had 5 minutes to get to the car or they were walking home. 2 miles. I got a call from my stepdaughter maybe 20 minutes later asking me to call them an Uber because the nanny left them. She didn't mention a warning, so I called the nanny and confirmed that she had called stepdaughter. She sent me a screenshot saying that my stepdaughter missed 5 calls from her and read a text warning them that she'd leave them if they weren't in the car in 5 minutes. So I called my stepdaughter back and told her they were going to have to walk. Stepdaughter got home close to an hour later and was furious with both our nanny for making them walk and embarrassing her in front of her friends and me. My wife thinks her daughter should have been punished, but I shouldn't have made her walk. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Actions have consequences and she found out the consequence. Let's not forget the timeline. Stepdaughter asked to be picked up at 2. At 2:30, Nanny called Mom and was told to tell her that she had 5 minutes to get to the car or she was walking home. So it was already 2:35 when the nanny left. By the time she rings requesting an Uber, it's going to be 2:50-ish. That's 50 minutes late. That's entitled behaviour and needs to be nipped in the bud. Nanny is not a slave or chauffeur. This puts her in a difficult position and your stepdaughter took advantage of it and sounds spoiled. I had to walk to school every single day. She could walk home one day. I'm glad she was embarrassed. She deserves it. She's learning to be punctual and that not everyone will wait for her. As long as it's a safe walk, let her be mad, but hopefully she'll learn better. As someone that employed nannies for about 7 years, this is a quick way to lose a good one when stepdaughter treats her like that. Wow, it blows my mind that it's a big deal to expect a teenager to walk 2 miles in a relatively safe area in the middle of the afternoon with friends. Unless the weather was treacherous, what privileged bubble do these kids live in? This is ridiculous and so entitled. For the last couple of years, I avoided spending Christmas with my family because I have a bad relationship with my brother and my parents defend him when he says some pretty awful things, and we've had small Christmases because of the global issue. But this year we were going to my grandparents' place, and there would be lots of family there, so I thought it would be easier to just avoid my brother, and there would be more people who might be annoyed at my brother if he decided to be a jerk, so he might not. But like every time my brother decided to drink too much and make fun of me for my weight, he has this joke where he pulls food away from me at dinner when I'm just about to take some, and he says I don't need it because I'm fat, or says I should go jog a lap around the house to earn it. He did it multiple times, and every time I told him he needed to stop acting like a jerk. Like always, my parents ignored him, but so did everyone else except my uncle, who laughed at me with my brother. I told my uncle to stop laughing because it encouraged him, but he didn't. I ended up leaving halfway through dinner and taking all the presents I'd bought with me. I didn't make a fuss, I just picked up my bags and left because we hadn't done presents yet, and they were all still together in my bags. Later, multiple family members told me I was being childish and trying to ruin Christmas for everyone by walking out and taking the presents. They said I brought the whole mood down for the rest of the night and everyone had a bad time because of me. Even though a few of them agreed my brother was being a jerk, they said they didn't do anything wrong and I punished them for no reason. I think that sitting around and not saying anything when he was making fun of me was wrong, and I feel like if they weren't even willing to say a single thing against him or stand up for me, they don't deserve to get gifts from me. Also, I think it's a bit of an overreaction to say I ruined Christmas just because I quietly walked out and because they all got 1 or 2 fewer presents than they would have. Oh man, your family was more upset by losing your presents than caring for your presents. Not the idiot OP, this is a pretty typical and backward family dynamic. Everyone agrees that the bully or abuser is wrong, but they also agree that the victim should keep quiet to keep the peace. Plan something different next year. Bullying disguised as jokes is still bullying and unacceptable behavior. I'd flat out tell them that letting your brother harass you and laugh at you without saying anything was wrong. Letting someone you care about be treated that way is wrong, and your leaving was the consequence of everyone's lack of action. I tell them if they want you there, they should act like it and act like you matter instead of letting you be dumped on. I think you made a good choice by leaving. The fact that you left quietly shows a level of class and respect that your family seems to lack. I hope you find others to spend the holidays with who actually understand the meaning of the holiday spirit. Find some happiness and don't let them guilt you about it. Blood relative doesn't mean you need to absorb mistreatment.